A feminist campaigner who was subjected to death threats on Twitter has deleted her account on the site. Yesterday, Caroline Criado-Perez raised concerns about the police investigation into the abuse. She was targeted after successfully campaigning to have a woman's picture printed on a new banknote. Well, with me now is the internet ethics researcher Vicky Beeching. Vicky, good evening. Thanks very much for coming in. What's your reaction to what Caroline has decided to do here with regards to Twitter?
She's a good friend of mine, and we did the Women on Banknotes campaign together. She led the campaign, but actually it's been slightly misrepresented in the press. She has deactivated her account, but it's not a permanent deletion. I chatted with her this afternoon. She's just come off Twitter for a while, but she will be back. And it's actually more to do with the fact that people have been victim blaming her, kind of policing her, telling her how she should be behaving rather than actually directing the blame at the trolls.
Right, and she's not going to necessarily listen to those who are blaming her because clearly she's done nothing wrong.
It's just been so wearing, I think, and a lot of my research into internet ethics deals with this. You know, we are so new to this technology. It's really in its infancy, and it's quite difficult when people get pedantic about what should and shouldn't be the right way to behave. So if you're a victim with all these threats rushing in and somebody's saying, don't feed the trolls, or, you know, you're making too much of a fuss, that's actually really inappropriate. We need to learn this technology gradually and graciously.
With the research that you've done, shed some light on how you think an issue like this could have been more successfully tackled.
Well, I think it's, as I say, in its infancy, so I think we're going to have bumps and bruises along the way as we learn how to use these new powerful tools. I think the key thing is that we don't blame the actual technology itself. You know, through the ages, we've had new technologies for most generations. Things like the printing press absolutely freaked people out. They thought it was going to ruin society, but the printing press itself wasn't to blame. And in the same way, social media can do great good or great harm. And I think the worry here is if people target their blame at the actual tool, saying, you know, Twitter's to blame or, you know, users are to blame. Really, we need to remember that the same social network actually won us the face of a woman on banknotes, the same technology. So we just need to make sure that doesn't become demonised.
Clearly, the police have got an important role to play in any cases like this, and I mentioned in the introduction that Caroline Criado-Perez has been critical of elements of what the police have done here. The police have said, look, you know, we've had a huge amount of evidence, hundreds of tweets to look at. It's been very complicated. How can they learn, do you think, from this as well?
I don't know, and there's some discrepancies in the differences of what's happened. She feels like they've lost some of her evidence, which is obviously very traumatic. But I think Twitter and the police are all really trying their best to rise to the challenge. Twitter have added the report button inside a tweet now, which is great, and we've all seen a lot of positive response to that. But we really need to just listen to the voice, especially of people like Caroline, who are the victims on the receiving end, and figure out, as she said, to create a system that works when you're getting barraged by this stuff. You don't have time to just hit buttons or type things into search engines, so we urgently need some new answers.
Right, but she will tweet again.
She will be back.
Vicky, thanks very much for coming in. Thank you.